Mega is an improvised satire from the staff of a fictional megachurch. Well, just like Jesus is going to kick the pants off of Lucifer someday, our guest today is kicking soccer balls straight into a net. It is our world-famous manager of our Twin Hills soccer team, the Iron Feet. Please welcome to the program, Barley Gump. How you doing today, Barley?
Oh, it's just lovely to be here with you guys. It's so nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful.
It is so exciting to have you, Barley, because, I mean, a lot of people know this season you have taken our little soccer team. I know you say football, but
yep.
Really football. Taking them from being somewhere sort of the lower end of the pack right to the top of the I guess what do we call it? The interchurch, the premier
championship, the ICC.
The ICC,
the ICC Interchurch Championship. I'm just, it's not so much me. It's the boys and the girls in the team. They've done all the work. You know what I mean? They're the ones that we really want to hold up and celebrate here. I'm just an old man who's come across the pond, and hopefully lit a little fire inside those little hearts.
Awesome. I mean, exciting. How does Indianapolis compare to England? I mean, are they pretty similar?
I mean, they're virtually exactly the same. I mean, in every way, virtually exactly the same. I mean, there's, you have restaurants, we have restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
You have humans, we have humans. I mean, in Indianapolis, you love your pets.
Yep.
And
that's
in England,
true.
we love our pets too. I mean, the only difference, I think the only difference is that you can turn right. On a road when a stoplight is red, which is, God, my life is, to be honest with you, that's my favorite part of being here.
Oh, yes, because
driving?
Because you all are on the opposite side of the road, aren't you?
Yeah. That's right. And
I had to get used to that too, because I'm from Australia. We don't drive on the opposite side of the road. We just go the other direction. So same side, yes. Opposite direction.
Yes, that's right. You reverse everywhere, don't you? You kind of,
yes.
Yeah.
So forward, our cars in Australia are meant to go backwards at a high rate of speed. And then forwards, they, a bit slower.
A bit slower, yeah.
Wow. So are your cars, is the steering wheel actually in the back by the trunk?
Yeah, the steering wheel's in the back and the front looks like the back. So really it just feels like it just looks like really a car, but we are doing it opposite.
Wow. Well, they say Australians came from UK, so maybe you two were related.
Oh, maybe.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe you were a criminal in my family. Gray, maybe perhaps you're a criminal in my family, and we sent you. But I'm pleased to be reunited with you right now.
Well, speaking of criminals in your family, I did want to talk a little bit about what is your family life like? I mean, how did you find your way from, I guess you were coaching some team in England.
That's right.
And then you decided, you know what? I think it's better that I coach in the United States.
Do it for Christ.
So how did you find your way here?
Well, it's a long story. I mean, if I go all the way back, I was a professional footballer.
Oh, really?
First of all, I was a professional footballer.
What team?
Well, I played for a number of teams. I started off with a team called Queen's Park Rangers, which were just a lovely team in West London. And we weren't actually the Queen's Park Rangers. That wasn't a sort of job that we all held before we got into the team, but it was just the name of the team. Oh, okay. And then I played for Tottenham Hotspur.
Okay.
Probably
these
heard of
names,
them.
So fun.
They sound like Hobbit teams.
They really do.
They do
That's
sound
cute.
like Hobbit teams. They do. And I don't know if J.R. Tolkien was inspired perhaps by football teams, but I know he was a big Plymouth Argyle fan. So
another one. These names are amazing. And are you the one who renamed, I guess, the Iron Feet, which is the new Twin Hills Community Church Iron Feet? Was that you doing?
That was me. That was
Amazing.
me. Yeah. I just, I wanted to create something that really kind of spoke of strength. and strength of feet. I don't know if you've watched soccer or football, as I call it.
Yes.
You need strong feet.
Yep.
That's the key part of it. The rest
Muscular
of your body can be
feet.
weak, but your feet have to be strong,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, is there any, in baseball, sometimes guys cheat by corking the bat or put, do people in soccer ever put, iron in the toe of their shoe so they can, kick it downfield farther?
It's a funny story, but that's where I originally got the idea for the name. Was an old teammate of mine. His name was Wally Parks. Wally Parks. He was a wonderful footballer. Sadly no longer with us. God rest him. God rest his soul. He's no longer with us. He had a skydiving mishap for a charity TV program. It's very sad.
On TV.
On TV, yeah.
Oh, dear.
He jumped. The parachute opened. It was absolutely fine. He landed on the floor, and he just landed, unfortunately, on the motorway and was hit by a lorry.
Just the wrong landing zone.
Just the wrong. But he used to always, famously, he'd put sort of iron filings in his shoes. You remember iron filings from school and things like that?
Right.
Sure,
Yeah. And he had a shot on him. Oh, Halle and Gray, he had a shot.
Really?
God, he was
so did it slow him down though at all when it came to running?
He could not run. I mean, he virtually stood still in the area for the whole time, and he was fine, absolutely fine, until the offside rule was brought in, and then I mean, he was just it was a disaster after that.
So could he bend it like Beckham, as they say?
Well, he just hit it hard and straight. I mean, he had no finesse at all, Halle. None at all. I mean, Beckham is a beautiful man, a very attractive man.
Right. Well, I love anything that's hard and straight.
Too good looking. Is he really British? Because that's good looking.
I know what you mean. He doesn't. He does not look British, does he?
No, he really doesn't.
He's got beautiful teeth. He's kind. He's sweet. No, I mean, he is one of ours. He's just a rare one of us.
Really?
And where does he get that little voice that he does? I mean, is that I always thought, is that a character that he's doing, or is that really how he talks?
We're still waiting to see. I mean, we're very much hoping it's an Andy Kaufman kind of thing that he's going for, that it is a really long play character. Otherwise, there is no reason why he'd speak like that. There isn't. I mean, it is like a child has got it, but maybe he is just a sort of a child within. Yeah,
a child in a billionaire's body.
Yes.
Well, I do want to ask. Barley. So you started, as a player. You're playing over there, and now about how old are you? Because you seem a bit on the older side. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I'm 46 years old now.
Oh, really? Okay, younger than I thought.
Old.
Okay,
yeah.
And
younger. Am I younger than you thought? I'm British.
Right.
So,
I think the accent just makes it seem like a granddad.
Yeah. And so you played professionally, but then you came here to coach.
Yes.
And were you coaching over there too? I mean, what inspired you? Was it Jesus? Did Jesus really light you on fire and say, "Hey, you've got to be coaching in the United States and you've got to be coaching a church team"?
I'm going to be honest with you. I finished my career. I had a terrible injury. I had an awful injury. I did
skydiving.
Skydiving. That's right. Yeah, I went on the same charity show.
Oh, it was the same
charity
program.
show this time. Yeah, and they'd learned their lesson, so we didn't do it near a motorway or a highway.
Okay, so same charity, different year.
Same charity, different year. In fact, the charity, ironically, was raising money for Wally and his memory. So I jumped out again of the plane. Parachute opened beautifully. It's an absolute dream. But a gust just dropped me off in Whipsnade Zoo. And I was dropped off in yes, that's right. I was dropped off in Whipsnade Zoo in the, what do you call what are the big lizards? The big lizards that kind of.
Oh, the Komodo dragons.
That's it. That's the one. Yes, the Komodo dragons. That's right. And I landed there in an enclosure. And, well, to be honest with you, I was there for 3 days.
Really?
3 days. Cause I dropped in on the Friday night and they were closed for the weekend. And,
nothing between you and Nothing between you and the dragon, but a parachute to protect you for 3 nights?
Nothing but a parachute to protect me. And, I don't know if you've read about the Komodos, but they have very slow-acting venom, incredibly slow-acting venom. And I was lying in that. And I knew my career was over. I was lying in the enclosure. And at that point, I saw God. I saw him.
Oh.
He appeared to you.
He appeared to me.
Like Daniel in the lion's den.
That's right.
Exactly that. Exactly. And, I looked at him and I said to him, I said, I don't, what do I do? Lord, what do I do? I can't play football.
Yeah, I think that would be the first thing that anybody would probably say.
Yeah, I know, right?
What do I do?
What do I do? And he said, do what you feel is right.
Awesome. I love it when he gives good, straightforward answers.
Straightforward advice. And I said, what does that mean?
Right. I guess that would be a good follow-up.
Yeah, right. And then he said, listen to your heart.
Oh, I love that.
Just,
again, just right on the head.
Absolutely. He's so
what
good.
Did you do?
So what did I do? So I said to him, how do I know what is in my heart?
Oh, right. A question following up the question.
Following a question. And he said, only you can tell.
Yep.
And then I'm going to be honest, and I've not done this often, but I got a little annoyed with God at that point.
I mean, sometimes we do that, don't we,
Jacob
Holly?
wrestled with God.
That's right.
Exactly.
And you wrestled with a dragon.
Exactly. I wrestled with a dragon, and I said to him, what does that mean? What does that mean? And at that moment, I was lying there, and a baseball cap came on from the team, the Indianapolis Indians.
Sure, the minor league baseball team. They still have that name.
It fell into the thing, and I just thought that's God. That's God talking to me.
And was that because the minor league team was just outside of was the team there visiting, or how did that cap?
Or perhaps someone had left it.
I don't know. God never told me. He wouldn't tell. I mean, after that point, I don't know if you guys notice this sometimes about God, but he's not always available when you need him.
Isn't that right? Yep. We walk through the valley of the shadow of death. We say, "Where are you, Papa? I need you." And it feels quiet and dark.
Or is it that he, I would say maybe it seems like he's not available.
Yep.
But maybe we're on hold.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the customer service line that is God, while he's sort of deciding what he wants to do.
Yep.
That's right. Yep. Maybe we haven't pressed the button that we need to press to get through to the right department yet in our minds. Maybe perhaps that's the. I don't know, but since then God hasn't really spoken to me very much. But I think it's probably because I'm happy. I'm happy with Twin Hills. I'm happy here. The tax man can't get me anymore because I'm in a different country. So that's kind of that's great as well.
Well, I think, this God has really put it on my heart, Halle, that I'm just seeing the story here because our team is named the Iron Feet. You fell into a pit just like Daniel.
Yep.
Iron Feet, and our B team is the Clay Feet, so that is an awesome reference to that amazing verse in Daniel. And then, of course, as you've said, or as it appears, it looks like the Komodo dragons began to try to eat you from the feet up. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's absolutely correct. But mainly on account of me standing. I think maybe had I been, lying down, they might have gone for my head. But they went for my legs on account of me. What a blessing. What a blessing. And, I lost that. I just lost my heel. I didn't even lose the whole foot, just a heel.
Yes.
Yep.
But you can't play football with one heel.
If I may give you a word basket of encouragement, Barley, I'll tell you what. We know that God moves in mysterious ways. God can even use the venom, the slow-acting venom of a Komodo dragon to cause you to hallucinate enough to see him and hear from him. And though his message might not be very direct, well, guess what? It's God who gives you the desires of your heart. So if the desire of your heart is to be involved with football or soccer soccer, then that's from God. So all you have to do is follow what you love. And also, I just want to say, Barley, that you just said you're happy. And you know what? That's a sign that you are squarely in the center of God's will, because the Bible says that the fruit of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. And, happiness is a sign that, you are in God's, you're on the right path. And I feel like all these kids looking up to you, this, sophisticated ex-professional soccer player with no heel, you can be an example to them of how you don't need a heel to be happy.
No.
That's cool.
No, exactly. God gave you two for a reason.
See?
He gave you two so you could lose one and be grateful for it. I think that's the truth.
That's right.
You're so right, Halle. I feel like I'm in the center of God right now. I feel like I'm the central midfielder of God right now. I'm playing, central midfield. I'm spraying balls left and right. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm covering the defense. I'm dropping back if I need to sometimes. You know what I mean? I'm keeping an eye out. I'm threading a ball through to the strikers, to God's strikers. I'm doing the dog's work to make God successful, just like I did as a player.
And even though I don't really understand much about soccer or football, as you say, I definitely can relate to being at the center of God's field. What an amazing image. Something I did also want to ask you, Barley, because, you've really pushed the team, as far as I can tell, into really embracing sort of, the British style of football. And, now I listen, you all were practicing the other day on the annex field. I mean, and I barely understand what anyone is saying, because they're all sort of talking with these slang terms and things like that I guess are British slang terms that I have no idea what they're saying. So are you teaching them also how to speak like a footballer?
I'm going to be honest with you. That's been the hardest part. Right, that's been the hardest part, is teaching them to speak in the English style. I mean, it's all very well playing it. I mean, I don't know if you know this about much about the soccer team, but you can see when you speak to the USA women's team, they very much speak like English people.
Oh, really? Do we have a women's team?
You have a women's team, yeah,
really?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow!
I didn't think they allowed that.
I don't know. Great. I don't know when they allowed it. I don't know if it's going to catch on. I don't know if it will. I don't know if it's something that will last, but it's happening, and who are we?
Great.
Who are we to question these things? Although, of course, in my heart, I have questions.
Right.
But, ultimately, these women have been incredibly successful because they speak English. If you listen to Megan Rapinoe, she's always saying things like, on me head, son, or, or slip it in, or, you know what I mean, round the back, which incidentally all sound filthy. I understand that. I do understand there's an element to football talk that sounds dirty, but it's really not. I want to make that absolutely clear. I really do.
Okay.
Well, actually, I never thought about it, but I do wonder if it is kind of dicey to teach kids how to try to get something into something else, because that's pretty sexual. I mean, it's called scoring, which also is what a boy says when he gets with a girl, that he scored.
Oh, I know. And you said it earlier, Halle, bend it in.
Yeah, bend it in. Exactly. If you catch it in the area, that's called a hand job. If you catch a ball in the area, that's called a hand job.
Is that right? Wow. And there are lots of different, there's so many things like,
Yes.
Like I raise my girls to be like goalies or keepers of their own bodies, Don't let anything in. Nothing's going in and nothing's coming out, I should get them some of those, gloves that those goalies have, and if any boy comes near them, they can smack those boys right out of the air. I mean, maybe girls should do soccer and should only be goalies and use those same principles to stay chaste.
I mean, I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it's great that you teach your daughters that sort of thing. I think, if I had my way, every woman in this country would have goalkeeping gloves.
That's cool.
Every single woman would have goalkeeping gloves, and they could, they could use those gloves to protect themselves in any way that they wanted.
Right.
You know?
And you could probably bake with them if you need to.
Hey, double duty.
100%. You could absolutely do something like that. You know, they'd be great for dropping the children off at school, like driving gloves. Women can drive in America, can they?
For now.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Great.
But, you know, that is something interesting that you've said, which is, I mean, ladies are playing soccer. And, you know, sometimes I'm surprised to find out that the U.S. has a women's team. That is interesting. And, you know, our team is co-ed, isn't it? So you're coaching both men and women on the same team. Yeah. But something that I think that you've done that's different than a lot of what these other teams are doing is you've really said, you know, why do we have just one goalkeeper? And you fielded the team with several goalkeepers at a time, haven't you? And they're all kind of in the backfield trading off. And you know, it's amazing to see 3, 4, 5 goalkeepers at the same time.
You know, it's great. Thank you. I mean, this is something that I never really got off the ground in England when I was there. But I've always felt this, that the goal is a finite size. There's only so much room. The more goalkeepers you have, the harder it is to score. There is nothing in the rules that says you need to have one goalkeeper.
Isn't that fascinating?
Isn't that amazing?
I love that.
I'm experimenting with 5. I mean, I'm experimenting with 5 goalkeepers. We're thinking of going up to 6th because Jared, you know Jared.
Yeah.
Jared's
he's so
got a
cute out there.
He's a sweet little boy.
Jared Stickovich.
He really is. Yeah, but you know.
Yeah.
Little Jared
Stickovich. Well, I'll tell you what, I just think soccer is chock full of what could be great sermon illustrations. For instance, the worst thing you can do during a soccer game is to touch the ball if you're a player on the field. But if it goes out of bounds, you're allowed to touch it, grab it, stand there, hold it, and then throw it in, which must be very confusing for a player. Like, don't touch the ball, don't touch the ball, don't touch the ball, don't touch the ball, don't touch the ball. Now you can touch the ball. Well, it's the same with sex and marriage. You spend your whole life, don't do it, 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 don't do it. You say a couple vows, everything goes. You can touch anything and everything. You can put your hands on all of it, just
Halle,
like that.
We got it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You can, you know, I never stop thinking about the metaphors, the similarities between football and religion and our God. Awesome. You know, it's so right. You know, don't touch it, you know, and once you're outside, once you're married, do what you like. That's right. Knock yourself out. You're free to do anything you want. You know, and that's very much the rule.
What's another one that you think about?
What's another one that I think about? Well, okay, think about this. You know, the offside rule. I mean, I'm sure you guys don't understand that offside.
I'll never understand that as many times as it's explained to me.
The fact of the matter is no one here really knows the rules, and that's probably why
I'm going to level with you. Yeah. No one here really understands it either. We've all been kind of,
I believe that,
just figuring it out. You know, we kind of make a choice and things like that. And that's kind of what it is. You know, none of us are sure about anything. Right. We have to make a choice, don't we? We have to make a decision on something like God would want us to. You know, we can't just you know, meander through the world doing what we want. At some point, we have to put a line down. And that line is the offside line. It doesn't matter where it is. It doesn't matter what's happened. At a certain point, we have to agree it's there.
Yeah, I think refs just say offsides when they just want to change something up. They're like, I'm a little bored. I'm just going to say this so that we can get something else moving. Offsides, another perfect sermon illustration. If you're a man and you see a woman walk by you and it seems like what she's got in the back might be a nice big bubbly thing you want to check out with your eyeballs, and you turn around and check out her behind, but you're married to another woman, guess what? You're offside.
That is offsides.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. If you start, you know, if you go on the internet, you know, and you get a message from someone from Ukraine, for example, in your email, you know, and you decide just to reply to that person and help them out, you know, with some money or something like that, you're offside.
That's right.
You're offside.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Has that happened to you?
A couple of times. I'm a bleeding heart. I get emails. I'm a charity. I'm someone who loves helping out with things. Largely, I mentioned before, my tax problems were as a result of me getting involved in in honey traps. I think that's what you call them in some ways. A honey trap, is that the word?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That might be a British word that I'm not familiar with.
Okay, it's so basically what would happen was that there'd be people would put big barrels of honey outside my door, and I'd walk out and I'd fall in
so
them.
more of a prank show.
Oh,
It was,
so
it was very much so. And once I'm in the honey and I'm struggling, when I'm focusing on the honey that I'm trapped in, there's just people running around taking things out of my pocket. It's a very British crime, the honey trap. But
and try getting up out of a honey trap without a heel. That's
it's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's a shame people do that, but you can't help it. You got to forgive.
That's right.
Isn't that right? That's right.
Well, and something that you're also doing is now, and you said, now we're not just going to have the A team of the iron feet and the B team of the clay feet. You are getting kids young as age of 4, age of 5, and you're putting them into the program here at Twin Hills. So that we are starting our players younger and younger, so that by the time they get to that top team, which is anybody from 8th grade and up, I guess, can play.
Yes.
But so and a lot of times people are going, we've got adults playing against kids, but that doesn't really matter as long as they're at the level. And I think it's so important that you've gotten them involved so young.
If you're good enough, you're old enough. That's a famous manager said that. Sir Alex Ferguson said, if you're good enough, you're old enough.
Wow.
And that's what I say. And these kids, I'm mainly training them to be goalkeepers because, I have a dream of 11 goalkeepers, in goal. I have a dream, I don't know if I'll be able to I'll do that. But, if I train enough of these kids up, but, if I'm honest with you, I want to create a dynasty. I want us to be, the leading team in the ICC for decades to come.
Yes.
I really do. And
I heard you giving your speech going, I have a dream that one day we will have 11 goalkeepers in this. I mean, it was so inspiring, Halle. You should have heard it.
That's awesome.
It was really, I don't like to toot my own trumpet or anything like that. But when I'm at my weakest, at times I will come home, I will make a lovely cup of tea, and I will sit down and I will go onto the Twin Hills website and I will watch the footage of my speech and I will listen to myself. And,
I love that.
I guess I feel pride, but shh, don't tell anyone. If out of all the sins, I think pride's probably the one that's okay.
Yeah, isn't that? Right. I mean, because at least you're being proud of something you've done for Jesus. Isn't that right?
Yep.
Yes, exactly. Because I never I'm not one to question many things, but I never understood the pride one personally. Being a sin.
Well, you got to balance out, the humbling process of being covered in honey. You got to kind of balance it out. And I was just wondering, why is it that the entire planet favors soccer so much? It's the number one sport globally, and yet the United States couldn't give two patoots about it.
I know.
Why is that?
I don't know. I mean, I suspect it's. There's something about American sports that, and that you don't seem to be able to enjoy sports that go on for a long time. If you look at American football, it's one throw and then you stop for 5 minutes and commercials. I think your love of commercials slightly supersedes your love of sports.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's why we watch the Super Bowl is just for the commercials.
The commercials are amazing.
Exactly.
That's right.
So, basketball is probably the most like football in terms of the kind of continuous sporting sort of things. But, I mean, I don't want to say this, too much. I don't want to be out of order, but, I don't want to watch giants. If I wanted to watch a giant, I'd want to watch someone slaying them with a stone and a sling.
Bing bong,
that's
bing
right.
bong.
I mean, it is. I mean, it seems like basketball is kind of the opposite in a lot of ways because it's giants using the hands, and you've got a bunch of tiny little things running around out there, you know, and that's been one of your things too, is you have to be good. Doesn't matter how old you are. And you also have to be very small, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
And so some of the smallest little things we've got out there just running around on the, what do we call it? A field or?
We call it the pitch. We call it a pitch.
That's right.
The pitch. That's cool.
That's right. Yeah, we call it a pitch in England. We call it a pitch, and then the bit around the outside is the out pitch. Okay. And then the what you'd call the dugouts, we call the have a seats. That's called the have a seats, and it's where you go to have a seat.
And what do you, and because I heard you the other day saying, you know, I'll see you on the pitch. I'm on my way to the outer pitch, and then you say, now I'm driving home to go to my sleep pitch. And so is that what you call the home? Is just another version of the pitch?
Everything's a version of the pitch. The eat pitch, we call it, you know, the potty pitch. You know, it's all of these places are just, you know, the world's a pitch.
Yep.
Isn't it?
All the world's a pitch.
All the world's a pitch.
Yep.
You know,
I love that.
Yeah. And that was a quote that got misinterpreted when I lived in England. Oh, yeah,
you said life's a pitch.
Life's a pitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I got in a lot of trouble. I don't know, but in England, I don't know, you know this, but you're allowed, you have 3 swear words in your life. Yeah. You're allowed 3 swear words in your life. After that, you go to jail.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And
well, so did you have to pick yours? You have to really think about what you want to spend your cursing on?
You have to choose them wisely. You have to really choose them. You know, some say I wasted mine. Some say I wasted mine.
Did you use them all that day in the?
Used them all in that interview. And in my defense, one of them wasn't, life's a pitch wasn't even me swearing, but because it got reported as swearing in the eyes of the law, it's
And the interview
swearing.
was after, after you had just gotten out of the zoo thing?
Yeah, that's right. That's just after I got it out of the zoo thing. And I'd said I was in my zoo pitch. And then I said, life's a pitch.
Right.
And they, of course, you know, a footballer says, you know, life's a bitch. And then, it was a nightmare. And then, of course, because they were looking into that, they found out about the tax stuff. So it wasn't kind of, you know.
Well, do you mind me asking, what were the curse words you picked?
Well, yeah. Okay. So the first one was, First one was damn, which I know is not it's not a good one.
It's too bad.
But somewhat biblical.
Yeah, and you know,
it's somewhat biblical. I had biblical stuff in my mind. I did want to damn the person, even though that's not my job, but I wanted to damn them. We've all wanted to damn people.
Right. But that's for God. God is the one who can damn. Yep.
He does it. it. You can hint. You can hint to God. You can say, damn him, you know, and if God does, maybe he's listened to you, maybe he hasn't.
That's right.
You know, and then then there's the second one I used was an English phrase, which is gadzooks, gadzooks, which is which I think is relating to someone who's loose and things like that.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. And then the final one I used was I'm not proud of this one, if I'm honest. I'm really not. Sort of. I wish I hadn't said this in many ways, but the last thing that I used was, I'm really embarrassed. When I was down in the Komodo dragon. And I panicked. I didn't know. And I was just like, you fucking lizard, you fucking lizard, you fucking get out of here. I will fuck you up. I will fuck all over you. I will jam that shit down your fucking throat, you fucking lizard. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. God loves me and he will fuck. You can suck my you dirty monitor lizard. And
I thought it was a Komodo dragon.
Ooh, well, that was our dear friend Charlie Kemp playing Barley Gump. I love him so much. He's a ray of sunshine, and I do find him to be a breath of fresh air in the smog of life. Follow him at KempEZ77 and check him out on the new Netflix show Bodkin. He's fantastic, and he also has a wonderful, hilarious podcast called Mind Canyon.
And of course, I'm Greg Hess playing Gray Haas.
I'm Holly Laurent playing Halle Laban.
And if you could dip into those pockets and become a Patreon member, we are an independent podcast now fully. And so that is the best way to support the podcast and keep us going. And if you can, leave us a rate and review.
We appreciate you. See you next time.